You want to know what $847 looks like scattered across your muddy front yard because someone in a polyester blazer with too much perfume decided your grass was half an inch too tall. That's how my Saturday started. But here's the kicker: this so-called mailbox, Brenda Thornfield, destroyed. Wasn't even a mailbox, not really. She didn't know she'd just given the feds the last piece of evidence to put her away, and to be honest, I couldn't have scripted a more satisfying ending if I tried. See, Brenda Queen of the Willowbrook Estates HOA had been systematically waging war on my property for 6 straight months, starting with passive-aggressive notes and working her way up to full-on demolition with a sledgehammer. My kids' birthday cards, Christmas packages, all trashed and rained on. But every single attack caught in crisp HD with timestamps and all, because when you work in electrical, you get a little obsessive about documentation and backups. You know what I mean? But this wasn't about grass. It was never about grass. Brenda was running a one-woman crime ring bleeding this neighborhood dry through a $340 $1,000 embezzlement scheme, so obvious it's a miracle it lasted 8 years. And the best part? Her ego was so big she thought every destructive outburst was just another win for property values, while in reality, she was building a case file thicker than the HOA rulebook. So yeah, drop a comment with your own HOA horror story. But buckle up, because this isn't just a story about revenge, it's about the end of a suburban dictatorship. Name's Marcus Steele, by the way. If you'd asked me last fall what my biggest headache would be, I'd have told you it was my divorce, messy 2 teenagers moving into my late aunt's house, just trying to keep my head above water. That's when Brenda made her entrance, rolling up in a white BMW that practically screamed compensation, with HOA 1 plates, clipboard in hand, and the kind of stare that makes you check your teeth for spinach. Within 72 hours, I had my first violation notice mailbox. Wasn't regulation, had to replace it with the $350 model from Brenda's brother-in-law. Because of course it was. I thought New Start, don't make waves. Bought the mailbox, smiled through her compliance speech. But that only painted a target on my back. Every morning there she was idling past at 7:15, scrutinizing my lawn like a cop on a speed trap. Other neighbors gave me that look. Keep your head down, don't poke the bear. My neighbor Eleanor, retired teacher, kind eyes warned me. Brenda had driven out 3 divorced guys just like me, all within 2 years. It was always the same script pick on the isolated: find them into submission or break them until they move. Thing is, Brenda didn't count on me reading the fine print. When she tried to ding me $75 for grass 2.5 inches tall, I had the receipts, time-stamped photos, a copy of the HOA covenant buried in my sock drawer section, 12.4.7, stating grass had to be measured no sooner than 72 hours after a cut. I'd cut mine 36 hours prior. I told her point blank the fine was invalid and wanted an apology. The look on her face, like she'd swallowed a wasp, told me I was the first to fight back with facts, not fear. And that's when she lost it. Mailbox number 1, smashed beyond repair, caught only on a partial camera angle. The police shrugged, no face, no case. So I leveled up, installed 6 motion-detecting cloud-backed night vision cameras covering every inch. Eleanor brought cookies, sharing stories of a veteran down the street Brenda drove into therapy, others who sold their houses just to escape. Brenda, meanwhile, was running a racket, targeting anyone who questioned her, racking up fake fines and letting her friends park wherever they wanted or leave up Christmas lights till Valentine's. Mailbox number 2. Crowbar. Clear as day. Brenda on camera muttering, "That'll teach you." Now I had federal mail interference on film. My work van in the driveway. Another $200 fine for commercial vehicles, even though 12 other neighbors had work trucks or magnetic door signs. The punchline: Brenda ran her cleaning business out of her garage with a van labeled Big as Life. So I filed a fair housing complaint complete with photos. Brenda retaliated this time, pouring concrete in my replacement mailbox, which ended up damaging the mail truck. $800 and a not-so-subtle threat from the post office about ending delivery altogether. That's when the gloves really came off. With Eleanor and Tom, the ex-military guy, we started documenting everything. Violations Brenda ignored on her friends' homes, HOA meetings where she skipped procedure payments funneling to relatives. Turns out over 5 years, Brenda funneled over $230,000 to her own family through fake vendor contracts and landscaping invoices for work never done. It was all in the book. She was just bold enough to think no one would look. Mailbox number 3. I went full Fort Knox, building a steel box that could take a tank shell. Brenda swung so hard with the sledge she sprained her wrist and then accused me of booby-trapping the mailbox. That little detail, forensics gold, her tool matched the damage on my boxes, and the cameras had it all. Then came the nuclear option. Brenda called in. County code enforcement tried to claim my garage workshop was illegal. But the inspector found nothing, except violations at Brenda's own place, her home office, her unlicensed business, all of it. So I filed for an audit, knowing the law says any HOA member can inspect the books in 30 days. What we found was beyond garden variety corruption, kickbacks, shell companies, Brenda claiming homestead exemptions at 2 addresses, fake business write-offs. And when that wasn't enough, Brenda stooped to character assassination. Anonymous notes, flyers accusing me of being a sex offender, even police welfare checks for the children, trying to destroy my relationship with my kids, Jake and Emma. That was the line in the sand for me. But it turned out Brenda's playbook was nothing new. She'd pulled the same in her last neighborhood and got forced out, no charges sticking, because no one had the guts to fight back. Not this time. Our little coalition, Eleanor, Tom, me, and soon a forensic accountant, built a mountain of evidence. We found a clause deep in the original HOA charter making mailbox tampering a federal safety issue, superseding anything Brenda tried to pull. Her insurance wouldn't cover her, the losses would be hers alone, and the feds love cases where the numbers do the talking. The best part. The entire final sting was a setup. I built a fake mailbox stuffed with cameras, sensors, GPS trackers, the works. Social media posts, final mailbox timeline, the whole neighborhood watching like a live show. Brenda showed up with her son. Sledgehammers, crowbars, the works. Right on cue, she and her boy tore into it, every word, every swing, every threat recorded from 7 angles, Eleanor wearing a wire, Tom coordinating the play-by-play. Law enforcement, postal inspectors, even the media were waiting. When Deputy Martinez stepped out and the cuffs clicked, I swear the entire street exhaled. Brenda's breakdown was live-streamed by 3 neighbors. Her son flipped instantly. The DA smiled like he'd just won the lottery. And the charges stacked up: property destruction, conspiracy, mail interference, RICO. It was a landslide. Brenda pled out, got 18 months restitution, lost everything. The board flipped. Eleanor was elected HOA president. Tom cleaned up the rules, and suddenly kids were laughing on our street again instead of ducking behind fences. Jake and Emma got to see what standing up for something real looks like. My electrical business tripled overnight. Turns out people want a neighbor who fights for what's right. The Brenda case became a documentary. HOA laws changed statewide, and even the worst HOA nightmares got a little less scary, knowing you can win if you fight smart and fight together. Here's the thing, justice isn't automatic. Bullies bank on fear and isolation, but the second people stand up together, the whole system changes. Documentation beats intimidation. Community multiplies courage. And sooner or later, every corrupt HOA president finds out the hard way what happens when the right person fights back. Now let me hear from you. What's your HOA horror story? Do you think the punishment fit the crime, or did Brenda get off easy? Drop your take in the comments, and let's talk about where the line is between community order and outright tyranny. If you want more stories like this, stick around. Trust me, there's plenty more HOA madness out there. And maybe, just maybe, we'll help put another one of these suburban tyrants out of business for good.